I'm Andrea from Michigan, and I host this call with our professional in the house, Dr. Kurt Fisnick, a licensed chiropractor for over 30 years. And each and every week, he brings up interesting topics for us to discuss. Every once in a while, we'll have a question and answer call where Doc asks, I ask him questions and he answers. And even if you're on the Zoom thing there, you can put your hand up and indicate that you have a question, and Doc will let you come on the call and ask that. So let's get started, Doc. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Well, we see a lot of things out there in the news about keeping your body alkaline and, this whole business about being acidic or alkaline. And I thought that you might want to share with us about how to increase your stomach acid and the importance of that.
You bet. No, hang on one second. I was just looking at an article this morning after I had some people ask me questions on Facebook about it. And so this comes from Healthline, and it talks about the symptoms of low stomach acid. But before I talk about that, I just want to say that you really got to understand the digestive system. Anatomically, how is it put together? Physiologically, how does it work? And everything is in balance. Nature's in balance. If you have positive, you have negative. But, and if you have alkaline, you have acidic. It balances each other out because, too alkaline isn't good either. And so if you take a look at a battery, you have a positive pole and a negative pole. One's alkaline, one's acidic. In your body, the digestive system, it's actually the outside environment on the inside of your body. And what I mean by that is that if you take a look, you got your mouth, it's an open hole, it's like a valve, it opens and closes and things go in and sometimes out, but things go in. And then as the things that go in pass down through the system, things are added to it like enzymes and stomach acids and different digestive things. Then, nutrients are taken out as the body needs them. And then waste products are added back in. And then on the other end, there's another hole and there's a sphincter or another valve down there. But really, it's the outside environment on the inside of your body. And so a lot of people are getting they're getting misinformation when they hear about, alkalinity and things like that, because they think that everything has to be alkaline in your body, and they don't view the gut and the digestive system as not really being part of your body. It's the outside environment on the inside. And so what they do then is they try and convince other people that you have to have an alkaline environment in your gut when really you want an acidic environment. And so that being said, I just want to say this. So this comes from Healthline, and they say low stomach acid is a trigger for poor digestive activity because food and nutrients can't be broken down. So they sit in the stomach and they cause bacteria to grow and build up. The main symptoms from this are gas and bloating. But other symptoms you're going to have are including cramping, heartburn, nausea, acid reflux, constipation, diarrhea, infection, undigested food in your bowels, bad breath, weak hair, weak nails, dry skin, hair loss. And so when people start talking to you about this whole alkaline balance, remember that you want an alkaline environment inside your cells, but on the outside of the cells, you want an acidic environment. Even on the outside of your skin, if you were to measure the pH of your skin, it's slightly acidic. That's one of the important things about using our Sisel products. Andrea, you just went through the factory there, and weren't you amazed at the water system, the water treatment system that Tom has in the manufacturing?
Oh, it's totally amazing. Like, it goes through 5 filters for reverse osmosis. He can take out all minerals, take out acid, take out alkaline, put back in what he wants. It's absolutely amazing. He has total control over the water that goes in our products to make them the most effective.
Yeah, and that's important because, like Andrea just said, he can control the pH. And so if your skin is supposed to be slightly acidic, he's going to make the skincare products with a slight acidic content to them. He's going to make the shampoos and all that stuff so that it's slightly acidic, not alkaline. But the products that you take in your body, he's going to change the pH. So the liquid products like the Fucoid and the Eternity and the Spectramax, that's going to have a different acidic property to it. So it's really, really important. And so how are some things that you can do to improve the stomach acids? And, and one of the mistakes that a lot of doctors, medical doctors make is they think, well, let's put people on these antacids and things like that. But really, in reality, if you've got what seems like too much stomach acids, maybe it's not because you have too much stomach acid, but maybe it's because you've broken down that protective barrier that lines your stomach. Maybe you've broken down the mucous membrane and you've made it so that it's not protecting. And so what happens is then the acids in your stomach, they can actually start eating away at the stomach lining and causing things like ulcers and things like that. And so hypochlorhydria, which is the name of the condition when you have decreased stomach acids. But some simple things you can do. One is chewing your food really good. A lot of people in today's world, we're in a hurry to do everything. We have fast food, we have fast this, we have fast that. And what happens is that a lot of people, they race through their meal, they don't chew their food. And what chewing does is it stimulates digestive enzymes. And what it'll do is it'll cause people to have, if they don't chew their food, they'll have low stomach acid, and it can actually cause the hypochlorhydric situation. The other thing is that you want to limit your processed foods, and this just makes sense that processed foods don't have a balance in nutrients, and it's going to cause problems with the stomach acids. Actually, it's going to decrease stomach activity. It can trigger acid reflux, so you want to do that. And you want to eat some fermented foods like kombucha and sauerkraut and pickles and fermented vegetables because they improve the probiotic activity. And I like to take in a kombucha every day. I drink some Bragg's apple cider vinegar, raw apple cider vinegar. It's made from crushed apples. It's got bacteria. It's got friendly yeast in it. It's rich in protein. It's got lots of enzymes. Just yesterday, I was reading up that if you if you take in cultured fermented foods like Bragg's apple cider vinegar, and I don't get paid anything for mentioning the name, but I like that brand. It'll actually help your body in getting rid of glyphosate, which is the ingredient that's found in Roundup, which now we're seeing that Monsanto is getting sued for it, but they've already quickly sold out to Bayer. So I'm sure it'll protect them. But eating ginger, taking in ginger, that's going to help with some of these things. And so hopefully, Andrea, that answered your question. Are you there?
Yes, good job. Anyone who does have a question for Doc today, you can on the Zoom app indicate that you ask a question, and we'll try to call you into the call so you can ask that. So moving along, it was about 10, 12 years ago that I started seeing information come out that, inflammation was the main culprit in heart health. Sorry, can't talk today. And it seems that inflammation is a culprit behind many disease states. So what's causing inflammation, and what solutions do you recommend, Doctor?
Well, yeah, inflammation is probably, it's found in every chronic health situation, and it's a major issue. And so when I'm talking to people, whether it's brain health or whether it's heart health, whether it's the immune system, we've got to look at inflammation. And the other day, somebody was asking about health for their eyes, for their vision, and I suggested that even taking Balance D, taking the probiotic that we have with Sisel, helps out with that, because you got to keep those you got to keep the eyes lubricated. You got to keep that moist, and part of that is mucous membranes as well. But getting the inflammation down, Super Omega is great. The EPA, which is one of the acids found in the omega-3s, EPA helps out with inflammation. If you've got heart disease, it's really, really important. You can take the fish oils, and I think that we have one of the best because of the balance of the different oils that we have. We have the omega-5s, the omega-7s, the omega-9s, not just the omega-3s. And then we've added CoQ10 to it as well. Vitamin C is another good natural anti-inflammatory, and fucoidan. Fucoidan is great as well. One of the main properties that I really liked about fucoidan is the fact that it helps with inflammation. It decreases it. Plus, at the same time, it bumps up the immune system and keeps us so we have a good, healthy immune system at the same time. So I like that. Turmeric, curcumin, which is found in the Brain Vitality. It's also found in Renovator. Great for decreasing inflammation in the joints, great for decreasing inflammation in the brain. And we use some special forms of the curcumin so it'll actually go to work even faster. But yeah, I think that the inflammation is probably, it's key. It's key. It's one of those things that before you can actually go in and start rebuilding a joint or an organ, you got to get rid of the inflammation. So good question, Andrea.
Thank you. You brought up the topic of immunity or immune system. Many today are immune suppressed. Each winter, all we hear on the media is, oh, we're entering the flu season and people get sick. And how can we build up our immunity by supporting the immune system?
Yeah, another good question. The immune system, I think that a lot of people, I think they start thinking that, oh, I feel okay, I don't feel sick, therefore my immune system must be working properly. But your immune system is really more than that. It's not just, oh, I don't feel sick, I don't have the flu, things like that. Your immune system is involved with brain health and all that. Have you ever noticed that, Andrea, do you remember when your kids were young, right? If they were stressed out, didn't they seem to get sick more often? If it was during the finals week at school, didn't they seem to have more problems, more issues with their health? And that's because the immune system and the nervous system work hand in hand. You can't have a decreased function of the immune system without having decreased function of the nervous system. They're even finding now, and this kind of ties in with the previous question when you were asking about digestive health, but they found now that the healthy bacteria that grow in your gut and grow in your all your mucous membranes, the mucous membranes of your nose and your eyes and your ears and every mucous membrane, that bacteria, the healthy bacteria, they appear to have some sort of a direct communication to your brain. And so if you're not feeling good, now the doctors are saying maybe it's because the healthy bacteria are having an issue. And so we really got to look at that. We got to look at the gut and the healthy bacteria when we're talking about the immune system as well. but it's designed to, your immune system is designed to not just look for bacteria. And if we think back to the caveman days, you know, that was the number one killer, because they didn't have antibiotics. And so what happened, you'd cut yourself, you know, caveman would cut himself and he'd get an infection and it'd kill him. And now we have some antibiotics which help with some of that. And as long as we don't overuse them, it's a good deal. But the immune system doesn't just protect against outside invaders like that. It's also designed to get rid of abnormal cells. And every day we have these abnormal, or what we call rogue cells in our body. They've been damaged by free radicals, and then those free radicals cause other free radicals to form. And what ends up happening is that the cells go kind of out of control, and your immune system is designed to recognize those, and then what it'll do is it'll destroy them. It'll cause something called apoptosis, and it'll cause the cancer cells to just basically implode upon themselves, or else if the immune system says, hey, we don't have a way of getting rid of this abnormal cell, we don't know what to do with it, what it does, it creates a wall. It walls it off and builds a wall around the abnormal cell and creates, you know, I guess I'll say like a cyst type of formation, right? Put a shell around that abnormal cell, contain it, and now it can't get into the rest of the body and cause damage to the rest of the body. But what do? You know, as really, really smart humans, we go in there and we cut the cyst open, we cut that wall open, and now we allow that abnormal cell to migrate to other areas. We actually cause more problems. You know, so that's part of the whole immune system as well. As your cells get damaged from UV radiation, as your cells get damaged just from age, the immune system is designed to take care of them, take out the bad players, and so when we compromise our immune system, what happens is that the immune system doesn't recognize that, and it can cause problems as well. So hopefully that answered it, not too long-winded.
No, you did. But you know, as anyone who tunes into this call weekly understands, we are connected with a company that offers really, really effective products that are above standard. And we have a couple of really great products to help the immune system. Doc, would you like to share about that?
Well, like I was talking about, you know, the Balance D, of course, I think that's a key nutrient, you know, because your immune system, what do they say, 70% of your immune system is found in the mucous membranes, mostly in the gut. So Balance D is really, really important for that. I think, you know, the fucoidin, like we talked about, I mean, I've read some studies that say that the fucoidin molecule, because of the way that Tom's designed our fucoidin product, it actually bumps the immune system up. I've read somewhere like 3,000%, and I've heard other people say 300%. So if you just say 300 to 3,000% when you're talking to people, you know, it gives them a range to go, holy cow, you know, that's even if it's just 300%, that's a huge change. I think that, you know, as far as like other products to help out with the immune system, I think that Eternity is really good. I think Spectromax as well, because, you know, as we're looking at the immune system, as we're looking at free radical damage, we have to neutralize them. And a lot of people, they go, well, I'm taking a antioxidant. But what happens is that when you take one antioxidant, it creates another free radical to form, and then you need another antioxidant to neutralize that free radical. And if you're not doing that effectively, with the whatever product you're taking or the diet you have, you're not going to get rid of it. And so Spectromax is designed to give you the nutrients. There's 40 antioxidants. They work in succession. So it's, you know, we neutralize one, we form another one. We neutralize that one, we form another one. We neutralize that one, and we get it so that the free radicals are so weak they can't cause any problems. And then your immune system can work with that. You know, plus, if you can keep your cells strong, you know, what's going to happen is that if the cells are strong, then your immune system doesn't have to work so hard. And so it doesn't have to go out there and you know, fight a war. It can just fight small battles. And that's really important. So that's why you want to get the nutrients and you want to keep that inflammation under control. And then of course, you know, the age pill too, you know, with the age pill, by keeping the stem cells active and supporting a proper stem cell activity, what that's going to do is that's going to help with everything as well, because a lot of people don't realize this, but one of the first things that stem cells do is they get rid of inflammation. So at the stem cell clinic that I work with, I tell people right away, I'm like, okay, so I noticed that you've got a lot of inflammation. If we just go in and we just give you a stem cell injection without getting rid of the inflammation first, what ends up happening is that you're kind of wasting your money on the stem cells in one sense of it, because all the stem cells that I'm giving you in the injection, they're gonna work on getting rid of the inflammation. So why not take a product like you know, the age pill? Why not take a product like Renovator? Why not take a product like Brain Vitality, Eternity, Fucoidan, things like that ahead of time? Get rid of the inflammation with you know, with a $30, $40, $50 product, rather than spending your money on a $5,000 stem cell injection. You know, because, well, I grew up in North Dakota and we're pretty conservative there. And so I'm going to try and save you some money when we're working on it. So again, you know, Andrew, I know I get a little long-winded, but I hope that covered it. Yeah,
I think it covered it fine. You know, just to kind of switch up the topic here, let's talk about some lifestyle changes. We are seeing lots of information over the last few years about the dangers of not moving. They're calling sitting the new smoking. So what would you like to say about that, and what kind of malfunctions in the body does that cause?
Well, I'm going to read another article, and this one comes from the World Health Organization, and this is actually dated back to April of 2002. But they're saying this is an article that went out to medical doctors, it went out to members of the World Health Organization. They said physical inactivity has or can cause serious implications for people's health, said the World Health Organization. And they said this on World Health Day. Approximately 2 million deaths per year, 2 million deaths per year are attributed to physical inactivity, prompting the World Health Organization to issue a warning that a sedentary lifestyle could be among the 10 leading causes of death and disability in the world. And so they went on to say that you know, they're choosing physical activity as the theme for the World Health Day. This was back in 2002, and they're promoting it along with like Andrea just said, with tobacco-free lifestyles. And what we want to have is we want to help people get healthier. And so sedentary lifestyles increase the risks of all causes of mortality, double the risk of cardiovascular disease, that's heart disease, doubles the risk of problems from diabetes, obesity, colon cancer, high blood pressure, osteoporosis, lipid disorders, which is blood fat like cholesterol, depression and anxiety. According to the World Health Organization, 60 to 85% of people in the world, from developed nations as well as developing nations, lead the sedentary lifestyles, making it one of the most serious but yet insufficiently addressed public health problems. And they're saying, they go on to say that when you take a look at that, this is in 2002, so what was that, 16 years ago, they're saying it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And they're right. So
yeah, and you know, like, you know, we've heard for years that, you know, immobility, you know, reduces bowel function, stuff like that. And I've seen information about how the brain regenerates better if you're active. So you're stimulating the brain. I mean, there's so many things that.
Yeah, we've done a couple talks on that actually, Andrew.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Neurogenesis, because the World Health Organization, along with the National Institutes of Aging, they dumped a bunch of money. I think it's like close to $25 million into studying the idea that the theory that inactivity is one thing that triggers your brain to start degenerating, because your brain decides, well, if Kurt's not going to be active today, that must mean he's dying. He doesn't need his brain, so let's start degenerating it and turning dust back into dust. So, yeah.
Yeah, right. I think probably one of the most shocking things I heard recently was that if you're not moving very much, your spinal fluid isn't moving. Have you heard anything about that?
Oh yeah, the spinal fluid, the cerebral spinal fluid doesn't move because it has to be pumped around, and there's not like there's a little electric pump and you moving it. So it's activity that moves that. Same thing with lymphatic fluid and the fluid in your veins. You have to be moving, and for order for that fluid to be moving. And in the brain and the nervous system, the cerebral spinal fluid, it acts like a coolant. So just think of it like this. I mean, if you're driving your car down the road and you break a fan belt, what happens to your engine there, Andrea?
Right. Too hot.
It gets too hot. Yeah.
Everything is connected. It was perfectly designed to be connected so that it all works together. Let's switch over to this. How about talking about memory? Everyone is saying I have CRS, which stands for I can't remember blank. People lose their memory, and they think that losing their memory, with age is normal. I did. Before I started taking the age pill, I couldn't remember things. I would joke with my kids and other people, like, hey, if it happened yesterday, I don't remember it. And I just thought that, I was getting to that age where, hey, I'm going to lose my memory, and that's what happens. We all joke about it. We make jokes about it. There's, posts on Facebook about it, all that stuff. So let's talk about that. What can you share with us about memory and memory improvement?
Yeah, really good topic of discussion. Well, like we were just talking about as far as like activity, that's one of the things that you can do. It doesn't cost you anything. Just stay physically active, and that's going to help with memory, because again, it's going to create neurogenesis. And what does neurogenesis mean? Neuro, of course, means nervous system. Genesis means new. So neurogenesis is building new brain cells, and so you want to stay physically active. And one of the muscles that they really found that's related to neurogenesis is actually the muscles found right in your head, the jaws that chew your food.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so what happens is if you think about it, as people get older, what do? They lose their teeth. And when they lose their teeth, they don't chew their food as good. They kind of gum things, and they start eating soft food that they don't have to chew. And so now one of the major muscles that tells your brain to go through neurogenesis, these muscles start to atrophy. And so I've been telling older folks, I've been telling them, chew your food really good, chew your food really good. Take care of your teeth, because, your teeth are related to good brain health. And they kind of give me that weird look like, what the hell are you talking about? But seriously, that's what you got to do. So even, when you talk to people about memory, Sisel toothpaste, Sisel Terminator, great products, because it's going to help you so you're going to keep your teeth longer, which is going to make it so you chew your food better, and that's going to help it so that you go through neurogenesis, and you want to have those good brain cells. But the other thing is brain vitality, and there's so many ingredients. We just don't have enough time on today's call to talk about it. But we've talked about it before with the curcuma longa. It's a type of a curcumin that helps get rid of inflammation. It's more powerful. I've read, I think, 250 times more powerful than just regular turmeric. We've got a special form of magnesium called magnesium threonate. It passes through the blood-brain barrier. It goes into the brain quickly. In our country, and I don't know if it's around the world, but at least in our country, in the United States, they say we have a magnesium deficiency. And so, you know, a product like Brain Vitality, there's two important things. Plus, we've got the different kinds of nutrients that are specific for the brain, with helping with making good connections, right? Because think of your brain like a big, massive computer packed into a small space. And what happens is that you've got all these computer modules, and they have to be connected to each other. And so what makes up the connections is actually omega fats. One of them, another one that's found in fish oil, it's called DHA. And DHA is really, really important because that's what makes up the connection. And I hear people saying, oh yeah, I don't take fish oil, I take flaxseed oil. Well, guess what, folks? If you're taking flaxseed oil, you're getting the EPA, you're getting the anti-inflammatory part of the fish oil, but you're not getting the DHA because flax oil doesn't have DHA. You get that only from the animal fats from the fish oils. And even, you know, like I like to eat a wild game, you know, elk and deer and buffalo and things like that. And because it has a good blend of both the EPA and the DHA, and you know, meat was designed that way. But what happened is that we found we could grow cows faster. We could make better tasting steaks because of the marbling by feeding them corn. But what happens is when you feed these animals corn, is that they don't form the right amount of the good fats, and so you end up with an overbalance of the bad fats in the red meat. And so, you know, again, probably a topic of discussion that we could talk about for hours, but I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, and you know, coming away talking about memory and brain health, I think a really simple way to come away from that is that medical community used to believe you couldn't improve the brain, that the brain was kind of stagnant, that, you know, if you had a damaged brain, that's pretty much what you had. You know, there wasn't a whole lot of hope for improvement. And now we have doctors, you know, around the country, like Dr. Amen from, I believe, Oregon, and Dr. Mark Hyman from New York, that are out there, you know, sharing with people that through nutrients you can improve brain function. And I mean, we're even seeing that with many of our Sisel products, and including the Brain Vitality. So, you know, if anyone is out there with some kind of disorder or memory loss or anything like that, we've got the nutrients for you.
Sure do. Yeah, and the age pill, before we close out, and I know it's that time, but you know, just let me say a little bit about the age pill, anti-glycation extreme. For those of you on the call, those of you listening to the recording, yeah, I don't want to overlook this one because it's so important. And here's the deal, is that we're only given so many stem cells. And when you're young, you have like one stem cell for every 5,000 to 10,000 cells in your body. When you're middle-aged, then you have one stem cell for every 500,000 cells in your body. When you get to be older, you have one stem cell for every 2 million cells, right? And so wouldn't you like to make sure that one stem cell that's taking care of 2 million other cells, wouldn't you like to make sure that it's working, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing? And so that's where the age pill comes into play with this, is because what it does is it supports a healthy system to make sure that these stem cells are functioning properly. It removes the glycation, it removes the lipofuscin from the cells, and think of that kind of like, you know, the breading on your chicken or on your fish, and you know, I mean, it might taste good on chicken, it might taste good on fish, but it's not healthy when you have breading like that on your cells, on your stem cells. And that's what happens when we eat these high carbohydrate diets that we have. And really we've gone to that. And if you go back again, you know, I talk about caveman days. We go back to the caveman days. We didn't have farmers raising, you know, just these huge crops, you know, and we didn't have the surplus of food that we do today. In the wintertime, even 100 years ago, there wasn't a surplus of a lot of the carbohydrates because we didn't have access to them. But now, because of transportation, we can move crops from the southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere, and all of a sudden we're providing all these nutrients, and our body hasn't adjusted to that. I mean, our body's still kind of living back in the caveman days, and all of a sudden we're given a modern type diet, and we'll eventually evolve. We're seeing it already, but how long will that be? So anyhow, Andrea, I'll let you close out the call.
Okay, thank you, Doc. Thank you for your time and your knowledge. We appreciate that you are willing to share with us each and every Tuesday. If any of you were invited to this call or a friend posted it on social media and you came to listen to it from that, please get back with your friend and connect with them to find out more information about the wonderful products that Sisel International offers to help you with your health. Have a great day. Bye.
Thanks, Andrea.